Good evening, wanderer. The Apothecary has found its way back to Elm Hollow, where the trees lean in closer than ever, their branches curved like cupped hands around my little shop. Something's different about their whispers tonight, more urgent somehow, as though they're trying to share secrets they've kept hidden in their roots for centuries. Whimsy noticed it first, of course. They've been unusually still today, ears constantly pivoting toward the rustling leaves overhead. Even now, they sit in our window, mismatched eyes fixed on something moving between the shadows of the trees, something that might be wind, but probably isn't. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and mystery, and I've noticed the moss growing up our walls seems to be spelling out words in a language I almost remember. The trees of Elm Hollow have always been keepers of stories, but lately they seem more inclined to share them, though whether that's a good thing remains to be seen. But first, let me attend to some letters that have found their way to us. They always do somehow, even though the Apothecary never stays in one place long enough to claim an address. Today's batch arrived wrapped in leaves from trees I've never seen before, sealed with wax that smells faintly of starlight. The first comes from Marina, a baker in Market Square. She writes, "Dear Altaire, my bread has started whispering when it bakes. Not anything worrisome, mostly old lullabies and weather predictions, but last week's sourdough started reciting what sounded like prophecies. Should I be concerned? The customers seem to enjoy it, but I'm worried about what tomorrow's rye might reveal." Ah, Marina, your yeast has likely been touched by what we call wild wisdom, knowledge that drifts through Ashbourne like pollen, settling where it will. It's harmless enough, though I'd recommend adding a pinch of ground moonstone to your starter. It won't stop the whispering entirely, but it should keep the prophecies to a minimum. We don't want your morning buns revealing too many secrets after all. Here's another, from young Thistle, not to be confused with Mistress Thistlethorn of the library. "Dear Altaire, I followed a cat through Market Square yesterday, and now I'm quite certain it was leading me somewhere important, but I lost sight of it near the lanternless dock, and now I can't shake the feeling that I've missed something crucial. The dock seems different now, more expectant somehow. What should I do?" Oh, Thistle. Cats in Ashbourne, especially near the lanternless dock, often have their own agendas. My advice would be to wait. If the cat was indeed leading you somewhere important, it will find you again. Some journeys can't be rushed, and some discoveries need to wait for the right moment. The last letter is curious. The parchment seems to have been made from pressed flower petals, and the ink shifts color as I read. The trees know something they're not telling. Listen harder. It's unsigned, but the handwriting looks like it was formed by falling leaves. I've noticed it too. This sense that the trees of Elm Hollow are trying to communicate something important. Even now I can hear them rustling overhead, their shadows making patterns that almost resolve into words. As I set aside the curious leaf and letter, the shop's bell chimes, a soft melodic sound that seems to make the trees outside pause their whispering. An elderly woman stands in the doorway, her shawl covered in living moss that shifts and ripples as she moves. Her eyes are the deep green of forest shadows. "My dreams have started growing," she says without preamble, placing a small box on my counter. Inside, tiny flowers bloom and wilt in the pattern of her nighttime visions. They used to stay in my head where they belong, but now... She gestures helplessly at the box, where a miniature garden lives out her dreamscape in endless cycles. I mix her a gentle tincture of valerian and moonflower, with just a touch of evening dew to help keep her dreams where they belong. As she leaves, the moss on her shawl seems slightly calmer, no longer rippling quite so urgently. While I'm cleaning the mortar and pestle, a young man slips into the shop. He's dressed in the simple robes of a musician from Market Square, but his fingers shine with a faint silver light. "The songs I play," he explains, holding up his gleaming hands. "They've started becoming real. Last night I played a lullaby, and everyone in the tavern fell asleep, including the cats. Even the candles dozed off, their flames drooping like tired heads. For him, I prepare a balm of sage and starlight to be applied to his fingertips before playing. It won't stop the magic in his music entirely, that would be a shame, but it should help him control it better." Whimsy has taken a particular interest in our next visitor, a child with pockets full of lost time. She pulls out handfuls of spare moments and misplaced afternoons, all tangled together like loose thread. "I keep finding them," she says, worry creasing her young brow. "They follow me home like stray cats." I give her a small leather pouch lined with dreams, the perfect thing for carrying lost moments until they can find their way back to where they belong. Whimsy peers into her pockets as she transfers the time fragments, purring in a way that makes the air shimmer slightly. As evening settles in properly, the shop grows quiet. The trees of Elm Hollow cast long shadows through our windows, their branches swaying gently in a breeze I can't quite feel. It's time for my favorite part of the day, tending to the apothecary itself. I light the special candles I keep for such occasions, each one scented with memories of summer afternoons and quiet dawns. Their warm light makes the bottles on the shelves gleam like captured stars, each one holding its own small magic. Whimsy helps in their own way, batting at dust motes that sparkle more than they should, keeping the shadows in their proper corners. There's something deeply satisfying about straightening the jars of herbs, each one humming with potential. Dried lavender and sage bunch themselves together like old friends, while the moonflowers arrange themselves according to which phase of the moon they were picked under. The star fragments in their velvet-lined box chime softly as I check their brightness. Still glowing strong, I'm pleased to note. I've just settled down with a cup of evening tea, a special blend that tastes of quiet moments and gentle mysteries, when Whimsy alerts me to a jar of dream honey that's trying to escape its shelf. Caught it just in time, too. Dream honey can be terribly mischievous if left to its own devices, especially after sunset. The wooden floors creak comfortingly as I move about, a sound as familiar as my own heartbeat. Each bottle, each herb, each tiny wonder has its place, and there's a peculiar joy in maintaining this small corner of order in Ashbourne's ever-shifting landscape, even if that corner happens to move from place to place. Outside, night has draped itself over Elm Hollow like a velvet cloak. The trees have settled into their evening murmurs, sharing secrets too old for human ears to understand. Inside, the apothecary glows with warmth and possibility, ready for whatever tomorrow might bring. After all, that's what we're here for, to help those who need a touch of magic in their lives, whether they're troubled by growing dreams, musical enchantments, or pockets full of lost time. Just another evening in Ashbourne, where the ordinary and extraordinary dance together like old friends at a familiar gathering. The candles have burned low now, their flames casting dancing shadows that seem to move in time with Whimsy's gentle breathing. They've curled up in their favourite spot by the window, their mismatched eyes half closed but still watching the night outside. Every now and then their ears twitch towards some sound I can't quite hear, perhaps the trees sharing their last whispers before sleep. I've left a small saucer of milk out for any wandering dreams that might need refreshment. It's an old habit, learned from years of watching the unusual ways of Ashbourne after dark. Besides, you never know when a stray dream might prove useful in tomorrow's remedies. The evening's last task is always the same, checking the star-glass windows that help the apothecary find its way to where it's needed most. Tonight they're clouded with possibilities, each pane showing glimpses of different corners of Ashbourne where we might be needed next. But that's tomorrow's journey. For now, we're exactly where we should be, nestled in the gentle embrace of Elm Hollow's ancient trees. Until next time, dear wanderer, may your dreams stay in their proper place, unless they have somewhere more interesting to be. And if you happen to find any lost moments in your pockets, well, you know where to find us. Just follow the warmth of lamplight through the trees and listen for the sound of bottles chiming like distant bells. We'll be here, keeping our small corner of magic ready for whoever might need it next.